Today we will do angiosperm. So angiosperm will do general features and the economic importance of angiosperms, right? So most of the plant you see around you, they belong to angiosperms, right? So angiosperms are quite developed plant, right? And they have well developed vascular system, root, stem, leaf, right? And their reproductive structure is flower, and flower contain the male and female sexual reproductive organ, right? So so we'll discuss in detail about. They have some smallest plant like Wolfia, and tallest plant is eucalyptus, right? So so these are the points. Now one more important feature with angiosperm is that double fertilization take place in angiosperm. This is very important point. It do not take place in others. Gymnosperm, pteridophyte do not take place. So double fertilization take place, and that results in the formation of endosperm and zygote, right? And endosperm nourishes the embryo, and embryo gives rise to new plant, right? So embryo is present in the seed. So they are seed bearing plants. Angiosperms are seed bearing plants. They are vascular plants, and they have so angiosperm have been divided into two categories, dicots and monocots. Those dicots have two cotyledon, monocots have single cotyledon. Like जैसे rice, wheat, maize, they are monocots. Dicot में pea, rose, they are ranunculus, they are all dicots, right? Okay, so so these are the features, and fine. So write down about the. So we'll discuss about angiosperm. So write down the features. They are well developed. They are well developed vascular plants. They are well developed vascular plants. It can be small plant like Wolfia, and tall plants like eucalyptus, right? So tallest angiospermic plant is eucalyptus, approximately 100 meters long, and Wolfia is a very small, right? Okay. They have a well developed vascular system, well developed vascular tissue. No? Xylem and phloem are present. Xylem and phloem are present, right? Next point you write plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaf, right? Root can be either tap root or it can be tap root or adventitious root. Right? Tap root is found in dicots and this is found in dicots. In dicots there is tap root and this is found in monocots. ठीक है, clear? We'll do the distinction between dicots and monocots after we complete this, right? Now, next point you write that flower is the reproductive structure of plant. Flower is the reproductive structure of plant. Flower contain sex organs like stamen and pistil, right? Stamen is the male reproductive organ, right? And pistil is the female. So, stamen is male reproductive organ and pistil is female reproductive organ. Right? Written? See, so I am just summarizing well developed vascular plants, right? Then it can be small, Wolffia, or very tall, eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is approximately 100 meters, right? Well developed vascular tissue, xylem and phloem are present. Plant body can be differentiated into root, stem and leaf. Root can be either taproot or adventitious. Taproot found in dicots and adventitious root found in monocots. Acha, flower is the reproductive, this is important point. Flower is the reproductive structure of the plant and the flower contains sex organs like stamen and pistil, right? So, stamen is the male reproductive part organ and pistil is the female reproductive. Is it clear? Okay, now you see the structure of a We will discuss the structure of stamen. Structure of stamen. So stamen is like this type of structure. This is anther. This is connective. And this is filament. Right? If you take a cross section of anther, you will find that there are, there are pollen sacs, right? This is here, this is connective. This is pollen sac present. This is pollen sac. And in this pollen sac, there is a presence of pollen grains. So this is you will get this structure after transverse section of the anther, right? This is the transverse section of anther. You will find pollen sac in which pollen grains are present, and there is a structure called connective, right? So there are 4 pollen sacs, right? So anther is actually bilobed structure. So write down about anther. Anther is bilobed structure. It is tetrasporangiate. Tetrasporangiate का मतलब it has 4 microsporangium. And this microsporangium is also called pollen sac. And in this pollen sac, pollen grains are formed by pollen mother cells. Pollen grains are formed in pollen sac by pollen mother cell. Mother cell by meiosis. So it takes place by meiosis. Pollen grains are produced. So pollen grain is so what is pollen grain? Pollen grain is, it is a haploid structure. Second one, it is called male gamete. It is called male gamete, है ना? So pollen grain is the male gamete produced by pollen mother cell through meiosis, and it is found in pollen sac. And pollen sac is found where? Anther, correct? So this is the description about the stamen part, right? कनेक्टिव के बारे में भी अगर लिखना है तो यू कैन राइट bilobed structure. It is tetrasporangiate. It has 4 microsporangium. Microsporangium is also called pollen sac. चाहे यहीं पे लिख लो, फिलामेंट इज it connects thalamus and anther, है ना. So filament actually originates from thalamus. Connective is present at the posterior part, and it contain vascular tissue, and filament connects thalamus with anther, thalamus and anther. So origin of filament is thalamus and terminal part is anther. Over. Clear? Any doubt? ये connective is present at the posterior part. मतलब जैसे lower part is called posterior part, है ना. जैसे suppose there are two, this is present, so it is present at the this side. मतलब not, this is anterior side, this is posterior, the lower one, and it connects the anther with the, जैसे this is the thalamus, right? From thalamus it originates, and there is presence of like this. This is thalamus, है ना. So origin is from thalamus and terminal part is anther. Clear? And anther is a bilobed structure. You are seeing there are two lobes, and if you take a cross section you will get 4 pollen sacs. 4 pollen sacs are there, and in the pollen sac there are pollen mother cell, and it will divide by meiosis to form pollen grain. Clear, na? Pollen grain is a haploid structure and it is called male gamete. Clear? Okay. Now come to pistil. Pistil, it is female reproductive part. It is female reproductive part, right? If you take a diagram, this is like this, है ना? So this part is called stigma. This is style, and this is ovary, and this ovary contain ovule, है ना? And ovule contain embryo sac. So this structure is embryo sac. This is ovary and this is ovule. So this is the structure of a female reproductive part, and this structure is ova. And there are 3 antipodal cells, and these are 2 synergids. These are 2 synergids, and this is antipodal cell. Antipodal cells. So synergid, ova, and antipodal cells are present in the embryo sac. Clear, na? See, ovary contain ovule, and ovule contain embryo sac. Ovule forms the seed later on, and ovary forms the fruit. So So write down first about stigma. Pehla point, it is the landing platform of pollen grains. It contain moisture and nutrients. It contain moisture and nutrients. So stigma is the point where they actually landing, matlab pollen grain lands here. Understood? And it has moisture and nutrients. So nutrients and moisture actually helps the pollen in germination. Pollen grain forms pollen tube, right? Acha. Now write down about a style. A style, it is a tubular structure. It can be hollow or solid. It can be hollow or solid. मतलब ये खाली हो सकता है या filled हो सकता है by tissue. If it is filled by tissue, it is called solid. And it can be tubular structure. अच्छा. Pollen tube. Pollen tube enters pollen tube, ऐसा लिखो, passes through a style and reaches embryo sac to fertilize ova. To fertilize, तो ये स्टाइल के थ्रू ये pollen tube पास करेगा, है ना? And it is going to see pollen tube moves like this. Through it forms pollen tube and then it goes like this and then it fertilizes it moves like this and then it fertilizes. It contain actually two male gametes. So 1 minute. देखो, so this is the ovule and this is the embryo sac in which there is ova, then there is 3 antipodal cells, right? There is a central cell also here having 2 nuclei. So this is the structure. So this is when the, you see, when pollen tube enters like this, right? So it contains 2 male gametes. One fertilizes with the ova and another one fertilizes with the central cell, right? At the time of fusion, these 2 nuclei come together. They form 1 nuclei, right? So when it combines with ova, then it forms zygote. And when another male gamete combines with this central cell, then it forms embryo, right? Endosperm, primary endosperm nucleus. So 2 structures are formed, and this is called double fertilization. So we will discuss later on. First you write about this style. It is a tubular structure. It can be hollow or solid. Pollen tube passes through a style and reaches embryo sac to fertilize the ova. Clear? This is ovule, this is embryo sac, this is ova, and these 3 are antipodal cells. Right? This is central cell. This is central cell, and this is style, and this is stigma. We will discuss later on about double fertilization, but first you see, this is stigma, this is style, and then this is ovary, right? This is ovary. So ovary contain ovule, and ovule contain, so we will discuss, first you written this, ovary contain ovule, ovule contain embryo sac, ovule forms the seed and ovary forms the fruit, clear? And ova is present in the embryo sac, and that embryo sac actually contain ova and synergids. These are 2 synergids. So function of synergid is it helps in the entry of pollen tube into the embryo sac, and then later it degenerates. Clear? So this is a structure of a pistil. This is structure of pistil. Done? Okay. So you understood, na? So it is the female reproductive part. It is the landing platform. It contains moisture. And it is a tubular structure. It can be hollow or solid. So if it is solid, then it breaks the tissue and then it enters. And if it is hollow, then there is no problem for pollen tube to go and then fertilize the ova. right? Then write about ovary. Write about ovary. It is at the basal part of pistil. It is at the basal part of the pistil, right? It contains ovule, and ovule contain embryo sac, and embryo sac contain ova. Ova, synergids and antipodal cells. Synergids help in pollen tube entry into embryo sac. Embryo sac, है ना? After fertilization, synergid degenerates. Synergid and antipodal cell also. Antipodal cells degenerate, right? So you can write that ovary forms the fruit, ovule forms the seed. Ovary forms the fruit and ovule forms the seed. Written. You understood this? See, as I told you in the previous diagram, it is at the basal part, है ना? Second, it is the ovary. It is at the basal part. It contain ovule, and ovule contain embryo sac, and embryo sac contain the ova and central cell and antipodal cell, and two synergids. So after the entry of pollen tube, this synergid degenerates, antipodal cell also degenerates, and it combines with the ova to form zygote and combines with this to form endosperm, right? Clear? Okay, that we will discuss later on. So what was the next point? Next point was that ovule contain embryo sac contain ova, synergid and antipodal. Synergid help in the pollen tube entry into the embryo sac, and after fertilization synergid and antipodal cell degenerate. ठीक है? After double fertilization लिखो, ज़्यादा अच्छा है. After double fertilization, synergid and antipodal cells degenerate. ovary forms the fruit and ovule forms the seed. Clear? Okay. Now discuss about how embryo sac is formed. If you want to know, see embryo sac formation. What happens that there is a this type of structure. This is actually the ovule, right? So ovule mein you know that there is a this is the ovule, right? So ovule is covered by, and this I told you was the structure, and here there is a tissue. This tissue is called nucellus, right? This tissue is called nucellus. So in the nucellus what happens that one of the cell one of the cell divides by meiosis to form, one of the cell acts as megaspore mother cell. So in nucellus one of the bigger cell acts as megaspore mother cell, which divides by meiosis to form 4 megaspores. 4 megaspores. So that forms 4 megaspore, and one is functional. One is functional and rest 3 degenerate. Rest 3 degenerates. This functional megaspore divides by meiosis to form, this functional megaspore divides by meiosis to form, divides by mitosis. Functional megaspore divides by mitosis by 3 mitotic division. 3 mitosis by 3 mitotic division to form 7-celled 8-nucleated 8-nucleated embryo sac. This is important point. So how many cells are there? You see, there is a central cell containing 2 nucleus, and there is antipodal cells. So you calculate the number of cells. How many cells are there? 3, 4 and 3, 7. And how many nucleus? 3, 2 and 1, 2, 3, 8. है ना? So, and it takes 3 mitotic division, right? 3 mitotic division to form 7-celled 8-nucleated embryo sac. So embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Embryo sac is the embryo sac is the female gametophyte, and this, so what is male gametophyte? Pollen grain, and female gametophyte is the embryo sac, and this embryo sac contain ova. You understood, no? See, one of the cell in nucellus, this is nucellus, one of the cell in nucellus is bigger, divides to form 4 cells. 3 degenerates, these 3 degenerates, one is functional, and this functional megaspore is going to divide by 3 mitosis. So how many cells will be formed? 1, 2, 1 से 2, फिर 2 से 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, first mitosis, second mitosis and third mitosis. So how many cells are formed? 8. Out of 8, 2 comes in the center, right? मतलब 2 nuclei comes in the center and 3 cells in the upper part, and like this, right? So this is how this embryo sac is formed. So this is first mitosis, this is second mitosis, and this is third mitosis, right? And this is how the embryo sac is formed, right? Okay. So embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Now we will discuss about the double fertilization. First you write clear? Okay, now come to double fertilization. What is double fertilization? Once it was asked in NEET exam that what is the characteristic feature of angiosperm? The answer is double fertilization. So pehla point you write, it is the characteristic feature of angiosperm, है ना? It involves syngamy and triple fusion. This is also important point. Syngamy and triple fusion. Now, what is syngamy? I will tell you. Fusion of one male gamete with ova is called syngamy, and fusion of another male gamete with the secondary nucleus present in the central cell, it is called triple fusion. Why it is called triple fusion? Because there are three nucleus involved. Two has fused into one, so there are two nucleus, and one nucleus from male gamete. मतलब हाँ male gamete. So now write down about syngamy. What is syngamy? Fusion of one male gamete with ova. It forms zygote. So zygote is a diploid structure, right? Then write triple fusion. Fusion of another male gamete with secondary nucleus. Right? So next point you write, it involves fusion of three nuclei. It involves fusion of three nuclei, so that's why it is called triple fusion. It leads to formation of the formation of primary endosperm nucleus. Primary endosperm nucleus. This is PEN. This is called PEN, primary endosperm nucleus, which later forms endosperm. Which later forms endosperm. अच्छा, एक बात और लिख लो, that this syngamy and triple fusion take place simultaneously, मतलब एक साथ. It take place simultaneously. ठीक है, क्लियर? Syngamy साइमल्टेनियसली, मतलब एक साथ, मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि पहले जाइगोट बन गया बाद में एम्ब्रियो, नो, एंडोस्पर्म, नो, सेम टाइम फ्यूजन टेक प्लेस. Male gamete, one male gamete will fuse ova and another one will fuse secondary nucleus. So taking place at the same time. You know what happens in gymnosperm, that in gymnosperm endosperm forms earlier and zygote is formed later on. If suppose endosperm is formed and zygote is not formed, suppose fertilization do not take place, then it's a waste of energy, time, waste for the plant, because what is the function of endosperm? To provide nutrition to the zygote, embryo, but if it is not formed, then it is waste. So, but here when the zygote will form, then only immediately endosperm to provide nutrition to the embryo, because zygote forms embryo and endosperm will provide nutrition. Clear, na? So both take place at the same time. So you can write that that endosperm provides nutrition, nourishment to the embryo, provides nourishment to the embryo. Clear? ठीक है, हाँ? Clear? Okay. So this is about the double fertilization, right? Now, and seed embryo is present in the seed. Embryo is present in, and I told you that this embryo gives rise to new plant. So angiosperms are seed bearing plants. Seed bearing plants, and seed bearing plants are called phanerogams. Right? Cryptogams are non seed bearing and phanerogams are seed bearing plants. And seed is covered by seed coat. Seed is covered by seed coat. Right? Clear, na? Okay, now you see classification of angiosperm. So angiosperms have been divided into dicots and monocots. Dicots and monocots. So dicots mein what are the features you write? Taproot is present, leaf has reticulate venation. Reticulate venation. Now, suppose this is the leaf, right? Now, this leaf will have this type of. Now, this is the condition. This is called reticulate venation. Now, reticulate venation, parallel venation is like this. When the many veins are parallelly arranged, then this is called parallel venation. No, this is reticulate venation. Now here taproot is present, reticulate venation is present. Acha, next point. Flowers are tetramerous or pentamerous. Now what do you mean? Pentamerous and tetramerous matlab 4 sepals, 4 petals, or 5 sepals, 5 petals. You know na, sepal petal, part of flower. Lower part is sepal, upper part colored one is petal. Next point you write that it has 2 cotyledon. It has 2 cotyledons in seed. Acha. It has 2 cotyledons. Flowers are tetramerous or pentamerous. Taproot is present. Reticulate venation. Now write down in monocots. Monocots, adventitious root is present. Adventitious roots are present. Next point, leaf has parallel venation. Flowers are pentamerous. Trimerous. Flowers are trimerous and it has single cotyledon. Single cotyledon in the seed. Acha, in monocots, in dicots, secondary growth take place. But in monocots, secondary growth is increase in the girth, width. So in dicots, secondary growth take place. And here secondary growth do not take place. Clear, na? You understood this? So this is the condition in dicot, this is the condition in monocots. You understand? This is reticulate venation, this is parallel. This is found in dicot, this is found in monocots. Taproot here, leaf has reticulate, flowers tetramerous. 4 sepals, 4 petals. Here it is trimerous, right? It has 2 cotyledon, it has single cotyledon, right? Secondary growth take place in dicots, but in monocots secondary growth do not take place. So vascular cambium is present, vascular cambium is absent. Clear, na? So this is about the angiosperm features. Clear? Now we will discuss the economic importance of angiosperm. Any doubt in this? So write down economic importance of angiosperm. So first is it is the source of food, you know. So it is source of food, source of spice, source of wood, teak, sandalwood, source of oil, mustard, sunflower are used, source of drug like ashwagandha and belladonna, they are used as drug. Quinine also, quinine extracted from bark of cinchona. You can write in this one quinine, cinchona. Cinchona is a tree. Uh, Sugandha belladonna cinchona used for drug, right? So these are some of the source of food, source of spice, source of food, source of oil, and source of drug, right? So they are this is the economic importance of angiosperm. Done? Understood, no? Source of food: rice, wheat, maize, wheat. Clove, coriander used for spice, making a spice, right? Teak, sandalwood are used for wood purpose, and mustard and sunflower are used for mustard, sunflower. Sunflower are used to extract oil. Ashwagandha, belladonna, cinchona are used for drug, right? So these are some of the economical importance of angiosperm. Acha, that one I think bryophytes economic importance we did not cover, na? We I think did not cover bryophyte. You see in the notes. So want to I think we had not done that. I remember. So you, nahi na? To write down in the end you do that economic importance of bryophytes. So that will complete the chapter. Economic importance of bryophytes. First one you write, it helps in soil binding. It is mat-like appearance. Which helps in soil binding. Next point you write soil formation. Mosses help in the withering of rock. Which helps in the soil formation. Soil binding, soil formation. Next point, sphagnum, peat, source of peat. So sphagnum gets compressed, fossilized, gets compressed, carbonized, and fossilized to form peat. Disturb कर रहा है ना तो Now source of peat हो गया. अच्छा, next point is that helps in the shipment of materials. It keeps the shipment moist due to good water holding capacity. Good water holding it has a good water holding capacity, right? क्या है? Next point you write that removal of kidney stone. Removal of kidney stone polytrichum is used in the removal of kidney stone. So polytrichum is there. Soil binding, number one, it helps in the binding of soil due to mat-like appearance, है ना? Particularly some mosses, है ना? Then soil formation helps in the withering of rock, right? The mosses play a role. Source of peat, the mosses gets compressed, carbonized and fossilized, and it later forms the peat. So peat you can use as a, you can say burning, you know, जैसे coal you use for burning, ना, in the same way. अच्छा, helps in the shipment of material because some mosses are like very, जैसे sphagnum, they are good water holding capacity, they keep the shipment moist. And last is removal of kidney stone. So polytrichum is used to remove, मतलब some drug is extracted from polytrichum. Polytrichum is a moss. मॉस पढ़ा था ना, फ्यूनेरिया याद है? उसी कैटेगरी में आता है पॉलीट्राइकम, मॉसेज में. तो पॉलीट्राइकम इज ए मॉस. पॉलीट्राइकम इज ए मॉस. सो दिस पॉलीट्राइकम इज यूज्ड फॉर, मतलब ड्रग इज एक्सट्रैक्टेड एंड दैट इज यूज्ड टू remove kidney stone, right? So this is bryophyte which was pending. So now the plant kingdom chapter is completed. Next class we will do, I think after this is morphology, na? Morphology after plant kingdom. So we will do morphology of plant kingdom. Morphology, right? In the next class. Okay, thank you.